What would you do if you were given unlimited power? Would you take it? Of course you would, don't lie. Would you use it on good things or bad things? Would you use that power to end corruption and solve all the current world problems? Or would you use that power to take authority of the entire world, enslaving everyone? Well, this is what Marina wanted to know through an experiment of hers called Rhythm Zero. And the results of this experiment will blow your mind. Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Mushfiat, and today I wanted to share an amazing and controversial experiment with you all performed by a famous Serbian artist named Marina Abramović. In 1974, Marina held a 6-hour-long show where she stood completely still in a gallery for 6 hours. Next to her were placed 72 items which had both beautiful things like a rose, feathers, grapes, wine, and harmful things like a scissor, a knife, a whip, and even a loaded gun. A sign nearby said that for the next 6 hours, these objects could be used on her as desired. And do you know what happened? For the first few hours, people were so nice to her, offering her flowers, grapes, etc. But as time passed, the audience started to become aggressive. They started stabbing her, cutting her clothes, her skin, and even had aimed a loaded gun at her head. When the performance ended and she started moving again, many of the audience members ran away. And many of them had their heads hung low because of shame and regret, unable to face her as a human being again. Now, this experiment reveals many truths of human behavior. One of them is when anyone, literally any living soul, is given limitless power for which they're not held accountable, it breaks their empathy and morality, making them violent and ferocious. We all are familiar with the term absolute power corrupts absolutely, which tells us that uncontrolled power leads to moral destruction. In her experiment, when Abramović declared herself as an object, people stopped seeing her as a human being. They started treating her as a thing, which highlights how easy it is for us to dehumanize the vulnerable when given power. We can easily understand her experiment if we take a look at the current world situation. Just like how Marina just stood there and did nothing but was still tortured. Many oppressed people in this world are facing the same exact thing. There are some other observations of this trial, like how collective social environment can influence individual behavior. In Marina's experiment, there were some people who just watched her getting tortured without doing anything. Which raises a question: were they also complicit in violence if they just stood there and did nothing? Well, the answer would be yes, because when someone had pointed a gun at her, another person did save her from getting shot. Which means we can stop violence if we want to. Rhythm Zero reflects how we treat others when we are given complete power, especially when they are perceived as powerless. Now ask yourself, what would you do if you were in that situation? That's all for today. Thank you so much, everyone.